Janine, would you like to talk to us about where your campaign is coming from?
I want to tackle the major issues of our time: climate change, integrity, and safeguarding our ABC. We are running out of time with the climate emergency. We all need to rapidly decarbonise, and I've got a plan. My motto is Bradfield can do better. We need to decarbonise the electorate of Bradfield with renewables, batteries, and solar power, and we can do it. Integrity is my second major issue. We have to end the political corruption, the rorting, the pork barrelling. We need a higher standard, and we need a member who's going to meet that standard. The electorate of Bradfield has been taken for granted for too long, and we need a true and trusted independent who will represent the community and not the political party. I will insist on a strong federal integrity commission where politicians will be held accountable. My third issue is the ABC. It's indispensable for a strong democracy. It informs, it entertains us, it's vital in times of bushfire and floods, because often that is the only service that people rely on to get out alive. The ABC is not just for Bradfield, it's for the nation. It goes to rural areas. It's trusted. It does the heavy lifting, and it exposes corruption on both sides of politics. And as well as fighting for a safe climate, to end corruption and safeguard our ABC, I want quality investment in education, the arts, and aged care. And of course, I will always be insisting on equality and justice for all. We need to rapidly transform and transition and decarbonise our economy. That is the prime issue facing our economy. We need to restructure the economy so that it is fairer for everyone, not just billionaires and multinationals. We need to invest in clean, green infrastructure that does not destroy our Great Barrier Reef, our Great Artesian Basin, our Murray-Darling Basin, our forests, and even our Blue Gum High Forest here in Bradfield. We need to build resilience in our Australian economy. The global economy has failed us, where jobs have been shipped off, or we rely on cheap labour from overseas, which has been an utter failure. The pandemic has shined a light on the inherent weaknesses of our economy, and we need to address them. Unemployment, they say it's 4%, but all you need to do to be considered as employed is to work 1 hour a week. That is not acceptable. There are too many young people on casualised work who will never get a permanent job, which means they cannot get a loan and their lives are limited. There are costs of living pressures because people do not have the wages to pay for what they need. Unemployment. There are thousands of teachers who have lost their jobs in this economy, TAFE teachers, university lecturers, and as I am very concerned about, over 1,500 jobs from the ABC since 2014. Healthcare workers, artists in the pandemic who were so impacted, the hospitality. The economy the women bore the brunt of the economy. Yes. So we need to restore our public sector workers so that those predominantly women who look after our most vulnerable are really paid and given the economic tools they need. Does that mean I finished? I finished there, but I'll continue later. Thank you.
Janine, what is your position as far as climate change in Bradfield?
We have to do something quick.
There you go, there you go.
Okay, we need to set meaningful climate goals, and that means faster, stronger carbon reductions. We need to electrify everything in this electorate of Bradfield. We have to rewire it, we have to fix the grid, we have to build renewables here, because if we can do it here, and we should be able to do it here, we are the most affluent, the most entrepreneurial, and the most educated electorate in the nation, and we should be leading it and showing the nation how to do it. We need more rooftop solar. We need to install the batteries. We need the electrical vehicle chargers. We need it here in the Bradfield electorate. My renewable plan is called RenewBradfield.energy. And I've set it up because when I put out my 50,000 flyers for my campaign, I wanted to be proactive and do something regardless of what the election result would be. To go to 50,000 people with a flyer and say, sign on to RenewBradfield.energy is an example of my commitment already, because we are running out of time and we can do it very fast. In this electorate, we have professional people, we have engineers, we have scientists, we have the expertise here who can give the advice. We also have the people with finance advice of how to subsidize all these things that we need to renewably electrify this electorate. It's going to take 10 years, and that's what we've got to do, because all the scientists are saying we have to get to 2030, achieve it by then. But guess what? Our electricity costs are going to go down. We're going to create local jobs, because when we do this, the work is going to stay in this electorate, and that's terrific. We're in a great position to do that. Matt Keane, the New South Wales Treasurer, has been leading the way for New South Wales for climate action, and his Hornsby electorate is within this Bradfield electorate. We can build on what is happening on our 3 local government areas with this electorate. There's Ku-ring-gai, there's Hornsby, as I've said, and there's Willoughby. We've got to put solar panel on every school that's in this electorate. The only barrier we have to doing all that is one political party. And I have to say, a vote for them is a vote for Barnaby Joyce. Is that finished? I've finished. Oh, 1 minute. No, she's finished. So we can do it. Bradfield can do better. We can electrify this electorate. The COVID-19 pandemic, we all know, was not just an Australian health emergency, it was a global emergency. I've said before, it revealed the many pressures across the healthcare system, our aged care, our hospitals, mental health, maternity care, and disability health. The pandemic shined a light on the long-standing issues that have denied safe, appropriate, effective, and affordable health care for all Australians. I support a high quality, well-funded health and maternity care system with the capacity and the resources to meet increased demand and complex needs across all sectors, from preventative to hospital to end-of-life care. A well-funded and regulated aged care system that supports a strong, valued workforce to effectively deliver high-quality, dignified care to our aged residents. And this includes implementing fully the Aged Care Royal Commission's recommendations, and particularly funding and legislating the requirement for a 24-hour registered nurse presence in nursing homes, building a strong and valued post-pandemic healthcare workforce. I support investment in preparing for the future with policies, legislation, and practices that genuinely and proactively address the health issues that are going to come with the climate crisis. We always need to depend on the advice of medical experts and our public health professionals. In our wealthy, well-resourced and highly developed country, every Australian should be able to expect and receive the very best health and aged care delivered in a timely fashion. And I just say we do really need to be incredibly careful about not stirring up fear about a proposed digital identity bill. Why? Because one of the biggest problems emerging in this campaign is a suite of conspiracy theories that are distracting us from the real issues we are facing in this election. It happened in the 2019 election, remember the death tax. That was complete misinformation. The United Australian Party has run this issue of misleading the Australian public with its $60 million last election. And it's doing it again this. That is corrupting our democracy. And that's why I say the ABC, our national broadcaster, is more important than ever. Because when we need to know the truth, we get it informed. The Bradfield electorate love their ABC. You may not love it, but there are many who do. And they want it to be strong, well-funded, and independent. It is the most trusted news service. It is valued for its music, arts, health, and four corners that shows a light on the misdeeds of government and gets us our royal commissions. And I want to tell you that the ABC Friends movement is a Turramurra movement. It began in 1976 and it has spawned a nationwide movement of people who will stand up here and defend the ABC. The ABC is really important for us in Bradfield, and I'll just give you one example of that. In 2014, with the cuts that came in, cuts that Tony Abbott promised, there would be no cuts to the ABC, and then proceeded to cut it. We lost the ABC's state line report that was run by Quentin Dempster. And I have to tell you, if we hadn't had that state line, we would not have been able to show programs like the rape of Ku-ring-gai, when we were absolutely distressed by the corruption of the New South Wales Labor Party with Eddie O'B. It was state line, it was the ABC, it was Quentin Dempster who really shone a light on that corruption. So that's why we need an independent ABC. The news at the moment is about the Solomon Islands. Well, I can tell you, I worked on an AusAid project in Samoa, and we had a strong ABC there. But what was cut in 2014 again was the ABC international services to the Asian Pacific. That's the problem. We need to restore our ABC.
When I was working for the ABC, I had an identity card. I think that was the link.
The Bradfield electorate has a right to expect its Member of Parliament behaves honourably, ethically and with integrity. This is not happening. There's the $100 million sports rules, the $660 million railway station car park rules, the $30 million that this minister, this member of this electorate paid to Liberal donors when the land was only worth $3 million in Western Sydney. I could go on and document more and more and more of these incidents. But the question is the coalition engaged in massively political corrupt behaviour? If it is, let's get a strong corruption body with teeth to investigate. A federal ICAC must make ministers accountable and end the shonky deals, the pork barrelling and the rorting. For me, this is a really deeply personal issue because as a Ku-ring-gai councillor who opposed overdevelopment, I could never understand why the community's issues were constantly ignored. Is it because political donations from property developers are some of the biggest donors to political parties? In 2020, the federal government Parliament weakened political donation laws, making it easier for federal politicians to accept secret donations from property developers. As I said, I have a history of fighting inappropriate overdevelopment in this electorate, and I guess it just goes back 13 years ago, and Chris Russell was there in a meeting, a huge meeting in Ku-ring-gai College, where we had an independent panel who was going to make decisions of whether we were going to get 10 stories or not. There were 3 hours of people standing in that meeting, begging, making speeches, opposing the overdevelopment, wanting to keep Bradfield beautiful, wanting to protect its heritage. And then the planning panel made its decision. 5 minutes it took. And the rezonings went ahead, and the rezonings will continue going ahead until we clean up political donations. Send me to Canberra, help me change the climate in Canberra.
Authorised by Janine Kitson, Suite 1A, Level 2, 802 Pacific Highway, New South Wales, Gordon 2072.